This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy Cootie coming at you!
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, in studio again today, 105 West Allegan, the beautiful Spotlight facility. That means you can watch us on our YouTube channel, Drive with Jack Ebling. Hope you're following along with that, subscribing. It is FREE, the best price anyone can imagine. It is 84 degrees here in mid-Michigan, partly cloudy, but pretty good day for football, actually, Rob, aren't they all? And
I would say hockey, but yeah, football too, I suppose.
Is this a good day for hockey?
Sure. Every day is a good day for hockey.
Really? I know some hockey games where like the ice has gotten real soft.
Well, that's if you have it outside.
No, inside.
We usually have it in
like
the
in
rink,
the playoffs,
in the arena,
like in June, right?
Yeah.
And the ice gets bad.
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, and I dare say our next guest, our first guest, would agree with me
Absolutely.
that any day.
Well,
is
you
good
guys
for
can
hockey.
fight over driving a Zamboni. All
That's right.
I want to welcome in Sean Belegian, one of the most versatile voices in the state of Michigan, whether it is sports talk, kicked ass on both sides of the state, whether it's play-by-play, all sports at all levels, or as one of my favorite guests on this show and on Press Pass on Sunday nights on Fox 47. Sean, how are you?
Tremendous. The NHL season's 50 days away, boys. Not that I'm counting. It's 50 days away. Just wanted to set that up.
The other thing about football, and I have to admit that is my favorite sport, but it is a shorter season. And this baseball season just seems to go forever. They just finished the World Series, and pitchers and catchers are reporting. And I think hockey is probably even longer than basketball, right? At least at the collegiate level it is.
Yeah, it starts earlier this year. September 29th is, as they move to the 84-game schedule. And,
wow.
You can go to late June. And it's a long season, so we'll see. But, Jack, I'm with you right now. It's all about football. As Tom Putty once said, the waiting is the hardest part. You can see it; it's right there, but we got those last few weeks to go. So looking forward to week 0 for sure.
I spent most of the day at Michigan State and talking to players and coaches, and I'm sure there was something similar in Ann Arbor, and of course the Lions training camp. Some big news there the last 2 days. But how did it feel for you to go from a community that has never even been in a Super Bowl and spend last week at the home of the defending Super Bowl champions? Did you feel a little out of place?
A lot out of place. There's no doubt about that. It's you look at Seattle, and just what a nondescript franchise forever. And then in the last 10 years, obviously we know how good it's been for them. But really good time. I can see, and I know Judd was out in Spokane, but
That's right.
I can see why people like Judd fell in love with the Pacific Northwest. Jack, it's beautiful. And no disrespect to the city. I like getting out and, seeing all the pines and the waterfalls and all that. I mean, it really was a good time. But, I got a chance to see, the right next door is Lumen Stadium, but T-Mobile saw the Mariners. Of course, the Mariners are just flailing right now.
Terrible.
But a win over the Tigers, a win over the Rays.
The highlight for the Mariners, maybe of this entire season, was a celebration they just had with the 50 years and bringing back their 50 greatest players. That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a really nice job, like the in-game stuff, Jack. They did a really nice job of introducing a lot of the players and everything, and they had a home run derby that started maybe 15 minutes after the game ended on Friday night. We didn't stick around. It was just time to go and everything. But, as my son, a diehard Tiger fan, said, he was like, gosh, I wish they'd do things like this at Comerica Park. And, pulled hamstrings and arms aside and everything from doing something like that. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. How many games have you been to at Comerica this year? I know we went and had a good time, but have you been there a few other times?
Yeah, I think we've been to 5 or 6 maybe.
Okay.
We've been to 5 or 6, and I know we're going to go next week and look forward to that. But Jack, listen, I said it 2 months ago on the show. I think both Rob and I are guilty of this. We buried our teams 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately. I mean, the Red Sox were dead and buried, and the Tigers still haven't got there yet. And I have my doubts that they're going to get there and stay there and make the playoffs. They still do, but this is insane what's going on right now. And it's a testament to what you said earlier. I mean, it's just this long season. It's a subtle reminder you can't bury teams in the first week of June.
That's right. You can't bury them in the first 2 months. We saw that with the Tigers a couple years ago, where they were, 8 under on 7 under on July 8th. And then came back and made the playoffs. We're within one pitch of going to the ALCS, and then flipped the script last year. And this year was just like 2024. You mentioned the Red Sox, Sean, and now that Boston has lost 2 in a row, I'm sure that Red Sox Nation will think they'll never win again. They're the most pessimistic group I've ever run into. But for the Tigers, it's the exact opposite. I mean, they win a couple games, and everyone is, okay, now we got our foundation for the future, and Troy Melton is going to be, this guy, and Jackson Job's going to be this guy, and Max Clark. So the Tigers, if you listen to some people right now, are going to be world champions several times in the next decade.
Oh, it's eternal optimism. It really is. And, Jack, it's unfortunate because this has kind of been how the franchise has gone for a while. I think... Well, the good news is they are, for the first time, really developing some of these guys. I thought Dave Dombrowski was so smart to trade so many of these guys, and not many came back and bit him in behind, all right? And I kind of subscribe to the Fred Heumann school of prospects. It's just like, hey, listen, I'll name 20 prospects, okay? And I'll take my chances that 18 or 19 of them never came to fruition.
Right. So, there aren't very many John Smoltzes.
No, that's exactly it. So... okay, so these guys hit. Well, then what? Are we going to turn this into a situation where we waited and waited for Casey Mize, and he finally put it together for about a year and a half and became a really good pitcher? Yeah. And then we said, well, we can't afford to keep him. And then obviously we know what happened with Tarek Skubal. So are we going to play this game in a few years with the likes of Colt Keith, with the likes of Kevin McGonigal, with the likes of Max Clark? It really doesn't give you a lot of optimism in regards to, okay, so how seriously are they, quote unquote, in it to win it? Yeah. But I'll tell you what they're doing on the field right now, it's insane. You can't. There's no right. And I know people will say, well, it's the A's and the Giants that they did it against, but to make up this much ground, Jack, in such a short amount of time, they were 16 games under 500. It just seems like a few weeks ago, So it's crazy how that works out.
And they have played pretty well, Sean, against top teams. Their problem, for the most part, has been against the bottom feeders. And I'm just looking at the major league ERAs for starting staffs, not the bullpen, okay? Just the starters. Detroit is number 1 in Major League Baseball at 3.38. Milwaukee, with Jacob Mizorowski, is 3.43. So, the Tigers have been getting it done. They can't ask for more starting pitching when you consider all the injuries they've had, but they haven't had timely hitting. And even then, their run differential, okay, that's runs scored versus runs allowed, is number 1 in the American League and number 4 in Major League Baseball.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's just, and I think that goes to the testament of just, really how bad this bullpen has been. And in fairness to them, they picked it up recently, but I think that's a giant indicator of just a huge miss by the president of baseball operations, Scott Harris. So, and the thing is, like Jack, and you nailed it. So many of my friends already have them in the playoffs and are ordering their playoff tickets right now. And to me, it's like, well, haven't you followed this team at all? Because here's the week where you think they should feast at home. You've got Cleveland, you've got Chicago. How Tiger would it be to lose 46 games? That's just the way that it seems this season has gone. But bravo to those guys for digging themselves out of the hole and really continuing it, even after letting go of Skubal and Mize.
Sean, if the Tigers play 500 ball the rest of the way, okay, and win as many as they're going to lose, they would be 80-82. And they would be ahead of Cleveland. They would be ahead of Minnesota. And the White Sox, until the last two games, had been backsliding. Wouldn't it be wild if the American League cesspool champion was below 500?
The crazy thing about that, Jack, is, I'd say a month and a half ago, for me, I started projecting 84 wins. And I thought I was being nice. I was like, well, 84 wins will probably get you in. Yeah. When you look at the lay of the land in the American League right now, not just in the Central, but even with those wild cards, Jack, it's probably going to be less. I mean, it's crazy, and we've never seen that before. Strike season aside or shortened season aside, you're usually talking 85, 86, 87 wins. Sure. And I thought, you know what, they have to get to 84 wins. I'm beginning to think that maybe that isn't the case. In particular, as you said, in this division, nobody has grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and said, nope, we're going this way. And, it reminds me a little bit in 2012, if you remember, the Tigers got hot kind of late in the year, and they blew past Chicago and obviously took that to the World Series. I'm not proclaiming that in any way, shape, or form. I still think this team has too many holes, but my goodness, could you imagine an 80-82 wild card or division champion? I think the possibility exists. I really, truly do.
Yeah, it certainly does. And when you look at, so much depends on the luck factor of what division you're in, Sean. Here the Tigers are at 58-60, so 2 under, and they're second in the American League Central. And Boston, playing unbelievably until the last 2 games, they are 11 over 500, and they're third in their division.
It's amazing how that works out. Yeah, hey, listen, it's not much better right now in the West either. You take a look at Houston and Texas. It really is. And, I think that's part of it. Jack, I've always been somebody, I like to derive my confidence by the way my team is playing, not looking at the lay of the land around me and going, well, this team stinks. And no, I want to watch my team and go, no, I think we're better. But I understand why a lot of people are saying that right now when you take a look at the American League as a whole. The Rays do a bunch of little things right. You have to give them their credit for that. Yeah. Let's see what happens with the Yankees when Judge gets back. That's a huge injection. What the Red Sox have done is just absurd. It really has. So, maybe this is one of those years that somebody sneaks out of the AL that we didn't ever see coming.
And part of it, Sean, is because in interleague play, the National League has just drubbed the American League this year. And part of it is that you have a couple of teams, especially Tampa Bay, that, they're 20, 24, 25 over. They're 27 games over 500 now. So it is possible that you could have the American League Central and the American League West champion and the third wild card team all at 500 or below.
It's incredible. It really is. Yeah. There's no cream rising to the top. I guess if you wanted to make the argument right now, the team kind of rising, because I think the Red Sox are in. I think, where they're at right now, I think they're in. But if you want to make the argument, if anybody's rising to the top, it's your Detroit Tigers. Yeah. And I still don't feel confident saying it. I really, truly don't.
Tigers have the third best record in Major League Baseball since June 1st, trailing only the Red Sox and the Brewers. And everyone talks about the Dodgers. But right now, the Dodgers, they have the 4th best record. Is that right? In the National League? I know they're below Milwaukee, and I know they're below Atlanta. They must have the 3rd best record. They must have the third best record. They have the 3rd best record, but if the season ended today, they'd have to play a wild card round.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And I mean, this swoon, there are spontaneous celebrations all across the land whenever the Dodgers lose, and certainly they've been doing a lot of that lately. So, Skubal on the mound tonight. Let's see how he fares. They didn't get him any support last week, so we'll see how it plays out. But I think everybody and their brother is rooting against them. I mean, it was almost a foregone conclusion. Here they go, three-peat. This by definition. In my mind, Jack, you win 3 in a row, and you can call yourself a dynasty. And just a week ago, I think a lot of people had the Dodgers penciled in, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. It would be great if this was the year that Milwaukee could put it together. Yeah. I mean, they've had so many good teams over the last few years, but it just seems like, they run out of gas, and they're the cute little small market team that thinks it can.
I think if Milwaukee had gotten Tarik Skubal in a short series, it would have had a great chance to get this done. But I'm told by someone on the inside with Major League Baseball that the players are rooting so hard against the Dodgers, and the owners who are not in contention, okay, the ones who are not going to be in the postseason, are rooting for the Dodgers because they want to be able to go into these negotiations and say, look, we can't give you a competitive product here, so we have to have a salary cap, and if the Dodgers don't get out of the first round of playoffs, they lose that argument.
Jack, it is going to be so intriguing. It really reminds me so much of when the NHL sat out in the year. The big question is, are the owners going to stay unified? And that was, as you remember, that was the big question going back to 04-05, because there were a couple owners. Ed Snyder was rumored to be one. Mike Ilitch was rumored to be another one that people were like, well, are they really going to hold the line? And when they held the line, I really felt like that was the death knell for the NHL Player Association. And so you're right. That's going to be the big important thing. Are these owners going to stay unified? Are they going to hold fast to the no? We need a cap, a hard cap. I'm so intrigued to see how this works. Because this is going to be a battle, because there's a lot of talk going on right now, and certainly a lot of propaganda from both sides out there. So this is going to be really fun to see. Not fun because I worry about baseball next year, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Sean, the Major League Baseball owners of the 30 teams, if not all of them, certainly 28 or 29 of the 30, did not make their money in baseball. They made it elsewhere, in business or inherited money, whatever the case was, venture capitalism. So they don't need baseball as much as they enjoyed the toy. They don't need it to feed their families. The players do. And the players 100%. Have mortgages and 8 cars to pay for and baby mamas. And they have lots of reasons that they need a paycheck. And they can talk a brave game. But I think the owners can hold out longer than the players.
Yep, that's my biggest concern. It's really funny. Jack, I mean, you're certainly infinitely more a journalist than I am. There's no doubt about that. I think your resume speaks for itself. But I'd love to hear both sides of the story. I talked to an NHL owner back then, and I'm not going to say his name. I bet if you think real hard, you can probably guess who it was. And he said, like literally, he said to me, he goes, I don't mind losing money. Yeah, I don't want to bleed money. Right. The way things were operating, he's like, okay, I'll lose some money, but when you're talking about bleeding money, that's something different. And that was a perspective that I guess I didn't ever really think of, because like everybody else, you know what I do? I go, player side, more, and everything. Right. And then when you hear an owner say something like that, like openly, I don't care if I lose money, but big deal. I don't want to bleed it. I was like, well, that's an interesting way to look at things. So right. I don't think that's the scenario in baseball right now, especially when you're talking about those payments coming in for teams that go over the luxury tax. Are you kidding me? You're sitting in some town, in the first week of November and go, hey, baby, the lottery came in, I get my luxury tax from the amount of money that the Dodgers spent over. So I don't think it's a scenario like that, but it's. I always like to hear both sides of the story to hear what what the mentality is, so to speak.
Sean, in the National Football League, the owners, no matter how incompetent they are, cannot lose money. It is not financially possible to lose money with an NFL franchise unless you are paying the most ridiculous stadium license or funding imaginable, okay? If you just take the TV money, you don't even have to open the gates. You're fine, right? But in other sports, I don't think most owners, the real competitive ones, the ones who are in it to win it, mind losing a little bit of money. What they mind is unfairness because they're used to competition. And in business, they want a level playing field. And they think that if they have one, they will win. They have that much confidence in themselves. But when you look at the Dodgers with $1.1 billion, and it's going to go up with Tarek Skubal, it'll be about $1.4 billion next year of deferred money, which they don't get charged for the cap for that. And when those players get it, they're not living in California anyway, so they aren't paying taxes on it.
Yep. It's boy, and you nailed it. I mean, for me, that was the final blow in regards to, and as fans, we're all guilty of this. I'm not calling out fans. I'm just as guilty as the next guy is of having that fan sense of entitlement. Yeah. COVID proved to everybody how not important fans are. Teams didn't have fans, and teams were making money because of the TV contracts and everything. So, I mean, that was absolutely. We're not as important as I think we like to think we are. The money's coming from different places, but you're absolutely something's got to get in line here. I mean, it really. We used to think back in the day the Yankees going over the top was crazy. At least there were some teams within shouting distance right now. Nobody's within shouting distance right now of the Dodgers. Right. Nobody. It's not even close. So does it guarantee things? No, just like we said with the Yankees all those years ago. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it certainly gives you a big advantage.
That's right. If you are running a 400 meters and you start 50 meters up the track, there's no guarantee you're not going to trip on the far turn, but I sure like your chances.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So I'm really intrigued at this off season. I like everybody else. I kind of have that feeling of dread. Like, okay, I've been there. I remember when I was a little kid when they went away in '81, and then who can forget '94? That was unbelievable to just say, World Series. Who needs that? No, all that, and then carried even into '95. So. Jack, I've seen it. I'm really worried about this one because it just seems like right now, and it might be posturing, but it seems like right now they are just eons apart in regards to what they're looking for with this next agreement.
And I just look at what the NFL has, and I say, it seems to work for everybody. Rising tide floats all boats. If you guarantee the players a percentage of gross revenues and you impose a floor as well as a ceiling, Sean, and you say that the owners can't just take their money and not spend. They have to spend a certain amount, right? Or they're going to be, it's going to go to the league anyway, so you might as well spend it. And you bring down the top and you raise the bottom, now you have greater competition. The players still have the same amount of money in the pool. It's just all the billionaires can't live in the same city.
Yep, that's exactly it. And yet, you're going to hear people just decry that up, down, in every way. And all you have to do is look at the NFL. I mean, really, it's as simple as that. There isn't one human being alive. I don't care if you're the biggest baseball fan in the world, the biggest hockey fan in the world, the NFL is king, and it's not even close. And part of it being king is the way it's structured. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
I just wish the NFL would take better care of its former players.
Amen.
That's the one problem I have. I see these guys limping and gimping around, and they have a hard time getting the medical care they need, and it'd be a drop in the bucket for the NFL. But when I look at these baseball guys, I actually had a guy, Sean, say, "Well, you can't restrict that. That's communist." I said, "What's the average salary in Major League Baseball? How many people in Russia are making that? I mean, you got to be kidding me. I mean." It's not like there's not plenty to go around. But and hey, if a team wants to pay the best player in baseball, if they want to pay Shohei Ohtani $75 million, go for it. But that means you can't pay everybody on the team $40 million.
You got it. That's exactly it. So, this is going to be intriguing, Jack. Obviously the way things are going, at least around here with the Tigers, that's intriguing enough. But once this ends, the posturing is going to be an all-time high.
Last thing for you, Sean, I would be remiss, and Rob would never forgive me, if I didn't ask you what you think is happening with the Red Wings, the general manager, Dylan Larkin. Where are we with this?
It's a mess. There are rumors out there that they're starting the interview process now. And I know I told you before, I've heard from multiple places that Christopher Ilitch really, really, really likes Sean Horkoff. And, does that mean that he's going to be the GM? Well, there's some speculation that they might have a general manager and they might have like a president of hockey operations type of thing. And so, your guess is as good as mine with that because there's a lot of different stuff out there. This is kind of going the same way. I remember you and I talked about this months ago when it first came out with Dylan Larkin. I don't care who the general manager is. I'd look at Dylan Larkin and say, you want out of here pretty badly, don't you? Yeah, I sure do. Okay, you're going to need to work with us because we're not just giving you away to where you want to go. We're just not, and not to the detriment to the hockey club, especially a team that's in the precarious state that they're in right now. Jack, the Hockey News comes up with this thing every summer. They go in reverse order of the best franchises in the league heading into the new season, and the Red Wings are at number 32.
Ooh.
And while I think that's a little bit aggressive because Vancouver is probably a bigger mess, I don't think it's that far off either. They are a mess on and off the ice. It really is weird to see. For such a proud franchise and a franchise that had such a long, sustained period of success, they're a mess on and off the ice.
Sean, thanks so much for joining us.
I got to jump in here real quick, Jack, because I got to ask both, and it's not a hockey question.
Oh.
This is for the both of you.
Please do.
Because you guys have been in the sports media and the sports talk realm for many a moon.
Yes.
So you talked about the pessimistic Boston fan.
Yeah.
And you quite often bring this up on this show, Jack. You do.
I do.
So I'm going to ask both of you.
Yeah.
Would you rather, if you had a choice, and you can't say both, I'm putting my foot down, Jack.
Okay.
Would you rather deal with a pessimistic, thank you, sports fan base, or would you rather deal with the overconfident or overconfident sports base thinking that everything is okay all the time, it's going to work out in the end? So if
They're
you had a choice,
delusional. It's like saying, would you rather die by fire or drown?
Jack, I don't want to hear it. You got to pick one.
I don't have to pick one. They're both bad.
They're both bad.
They're both bad. One is too defeatist, and the other one is Pollyanna. Could you put them together? Could you?
Well, that's what we have.
Them?
That we have it together, right? We get the good and the bad. I'm saying if you had a choice of one or the other.
Oh gosh!
Which would you rather? If you had to deal with it on a regular basis, which fan base would you rather have to deal with?
I'm not going to lie. The Legoland stuff. I don't know if you saw the Lego movie and the "Everything Is Awesome" song.
Yeah.
That stuff drives me out of my mind.
Yeah.
And the whole. What are you talking about? Jake Rogers is awesome. The Tigers won that Justin Verlander deal. That kind of stuff. I can't.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It makes my skin crawl. But the flip side. See, you know what? I'm going full coward, Rob. I can't answer that.
They both get Fs. What can I say?
Yeah,
they're equally bad in opposite ways.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Copping out. All right, I get you. I'm going to answer it for you.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I would actually want to deal more with the pessimistic because then if things go, just because I can't say that word, I'm going to go with it. Because when things go right, I can tell them that I told you so, right? It's nothing better than, right? You could tell, and I know Jack likes telling people he told them so.
Would you rather get hit head on by a semi, or would you rather drive over a cliff? It's the same thing.
You're no fun, Jack, I swear. I can't put you in a corner.
Sean, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Look forward to getting you on Press Pass very soon.
Anytime, fellas. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
The great Sean Baligian. We'll be right back with Bob Trippy, our Director of Research. Lots to talk with him about. Lions, Tigers, and even his Buffalo Bills and their new stadium. It opened and it looks spectacular, depending on where you're sitting. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Meadowar Jewelers.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends. Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. And we want to go back to our guest line, Rob, and welcome in, as we do most Mondays at this time. Back with us after a little break, well-deserved hiatus, Bob Trippy, our Director of Research, long time State of Michigan sports writer, Captain Database. When you look at all the activity you have coming up, Bob, I hope you got a good rest.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way, you know. I was actually thinking about that the other day, of all the stuff. I mean, you got football starting up, you know, both college and pro. You still got the Tigers, and we at this point we don't know, you know, how that's all going to finish at this point. And then before you know it, September's coming around, and that usually signals us getting close to, you know, the NHL season and everything. It's just, you know, you look at it, if you're a sports fan in the state of Michigan, the month of October is going to be very, very interesting, because if the Tigers make it, that'll be really interesting. But then you've got the Red Wings starting, the Pistons starting, the Lions playing, the Tigers playing, and now you're going to have a women's professional hockey team, too. So,
how do you think that will draw? Do you think people will care about that?
Yes, absolutely. They've sold a ton of season
Have they?
tickets.
Okay, good.
I'm really surprised, and they're very happy with the number of tickets that they've sold already. And I was shocked when I saw the number. I don't recall it off the top of my head, but there's a lot of girls in the state of Michigan that play hockey, and so it's something. So
Marian Illich is very committed to women's hockey. I know she wants to get that program in at the University of Michigan. I don't know that it'll ever happen at Michigan State, but I think Michigan's going to have women's hockey the same way that Wisconsin and Minnesota and Ohio State do.
Yeah,
Penn State too, I think.
It's really going to be an interesting fall, to say the least. Yeah. And obviously at the top of the list is those darn Tigers.
Yeah,
It's like,
let's start there. They are now 2 games under 500. I would just want to be very clear what I said about the Dodgers. They have the 4th best record now, not the best, the 4th best in Major League Baseball, behind Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta, but only the 3rd best record in the National League, so they would have to play a wild card round if the season ended today. Would the Tigers be in a wild card round the way they're playing now? Do you think that they're going to finish over 500?
Boy, Jack, if you would have asked me that a few weeks ago, I'd say the possibility of that didn't look good. But right now, they're really playing. I mean, I could give you all kinds of stats like you'd never believe. Yeah. I mean, they're averaging 8.8 runs a game over the last 2 weeks, and during that stretch, now get this. During that stretch, Riley Green is hitting 158 and Gleyber Torres is hitting 213. So think about that. They're averaging 8.8 runs, and 2 of your best hitters are not hitting very well. So you got to believe that they're going to come around at some point. And here's another one for you. Here's a great stat. Since blowing a 7-0 lead in Scooble's final game, the Tigers are allowing just 1.89 runs per game. Everybody thought that when Scooble left, the cupboard was going to be bare and, things are not going to go very well. I'm just shocked. If
the bullpen hadn't gagged that game away, I'm wondering if Derek Scooble would still be a Tiger.
That's a very true statement. I mean, at that point, they're kind of hit.
Had a 7-0 lead on Baltimore.
Yeah, look where they are in the standings now.
Yeah.
They're ahead of Cleveland in the standings.
Yeah,
and,
ahead of Cleveland, ahead of Minnesota.
Yeah, and a very important 2 series coming up that are going to be very telling. They got both Cleveland and the White Sox at home this week.
Yeah.
And, if they win both those series, all of a sudden, it's a whole nother conversation we're going to need to have because it's just, who would have thought it? I mean, here's one for you.
Yeah.
So somebody gave me this one, and I had to verify it. Since 1901, 123 teams have had a month as bad or worse than the Tigers in May. None of them made the playoffs. And think about it. Detroit is 1 game back.
Wow.
It's just incredible. And, you can just keep going on with the stats and everything like that. I mean, but the other amazing thing that happened yesterday is the fact that the Tigers won their 7th straight road series, something they've never done in franchise history.
7 straight road series, 7-2 on that road trip. And, Bob, when you think about the pitching again, they were in position yesterday. They were 1 run, 1 play away from a 4th shutout in a week. That's something that they hadn't done in 91 years. And if they could have made that play and it had a shutout yesterday, that would have been the 4th shutout. But as it turned out, those other 3 by a combined 27-0 score, had something gone wrong yesterday in the bottom of the 9th, they would have had a 3-3 week.
Yeah, absolutely. So you think, you talk about the shutout wins. The Tigers have, 8 shutout wins in which they've scored 8+ runs. And so, according to Major League Baseball, they're the 4th MLB team since 1901 to reach that total in a single season.
8 shutout wins by 8 runs or more.
Yes. The one who had the most was the Baltimore Orioles, and that was in 1969.
Mm-hmm.
So
how many did they have?
They had 9.
Okay.
And right now Detroit's sitting at 8.
So they could catch them.
Yeah.
They got
exactly.
7 weeks to catch
They very
them.
well could. Because, you look at the strength of schedule remaining, Detroit, out of all the teams in the Central, has the easiest schedule. If you look at the teams that they've got to play. The only really tough series, they've got 2 tough series against Tampa Bay and against the Dodgers.
Right.
And both of those series are at home. So we don't know what's going to happen there, but you look at the overall picture, and you just talked about a second ago where you talked about the pitching. And you got to start when you start talking about the pitching, you got to talk about Troy Melton,
right? And
that's just been incredible. Since making his debut this season on May 24th, he's posted a 1.58 ERA in 74 innings. Only that Jacob Meslowski from Milwaukee has a lower ERA. He's at 1.41. In that time period. So, you really got a diamond there. I mean, I really like watching him pitch. I really do. And now you got Jackson Jobe pitching. He's back from his Tommy John surgery and everything. And he had a heck of a game. He only allowed 1 hit here on Saturday. And, if I know they're probably going to be watching the innings on him. Right. But right now, the Tigers pitching has been pretty darn impressive. So, that carries you a ways. And now you got some hitting going on. And yesterday's game was very funny because of the fact that, that was one of those games, I think a couple weeks ago, the Tigers lose on the road. I really do. But for whatever reason, I don't know if they're eating their Wheaties or if they're drinking a different kind of water or whatever it is, all of a sudden, you can't count that team out.
They're starting to win games that they should have been winning all along. They're plus 87 in run differential. They've scored 87 more runs than they've allowed. That's the best mark in the American League. They should be way over 500. But this bullpen that's blown close to 20 games has been the big problem. They have a run differential, Bob, which is 41 better than Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay would be 13 games ahead of them in the standings?
Right.
Go figure.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And A.J. Hinch kind of commented about this, and I want to say it was a week ago, I think, where he had commented, he says, when you look at our record and you look at the players on this team, we're a lot better team. We just haven't shown it.
Right.
And now you're starting to see that you bring in a Max Clark, you don't know what he's going to do at this level because he's never played at this level, and he's been okay. I mean, it hasn't been great, but you know what? He's playing center field, pretty darn steady. You can't complain there.
No, he's been very good.
He's made a couple of.
Yeah.
He's made some catches that, I mean, there was one that was heading towards the fence and everything, and he banged against the fence, but he still ended up catching the ball. So you got a guy that's over there that's, kind of solidified the center fielder thing. Now you can put Javier Baez back to shortstop, and you got McGonigal over at third. So you've basically solidified the infield, and I still think. I don't like McKinstry over in right field. It scares me every time I see him over there.
Made a great throw the other day.
Yeah,
fantastic throw to the plate.
Yes, yeah. Which here's a guy. He does a little bit of everything in that, but I don't know if he's your everyday right fielder.
He won't be their everyday right fielder, but he'll play out there. I mean, they got Kerry Carpenter hurt, and they've still got some positions that are a little dicey. But as I look at this team, if you get that kind of pitching, Bob, if you're giving up 3.5 runs or less, no other team in Major League Baseball can say that about their starting staff. Not the Yankees, not the Dodgers, not even the Brewers. No team starting pitching has matched the Tigers' ERA this year. So if you have that going, now if you could get 7 innings out of those guys, which A.J. Hinch doesn't seem to want to do. He likes to pull them in the 5th or the 6th. But if you could get those guys through 7 innings and just ask the bullpen to pitch 2 innings or no more than 3, then I really like your chances.
Well, I think what's going to happen here, what we're probably going to end up seeing in the next week or so, they'll probably activate Jack Flaherty. Yippee.
Is that good or bad?
And they'll put him back into a rotation, but I think at the same time they'll probably move Montero into that role that he was in here a few weeks ago, where he was basically the emergency guy to come in when things start going haywire in the second inning and that. And Valdez has had 2 okay starts here.
Yeah.
He hasn't really messed things up early, which is a good sign, because just a month ago he couldn't get out of the first or second inning. So he's had a couple good starts. So it's kind of good. They're getting hot at the right time of the year. Yeah. Now, can they maintain
it's like 2 years ago.
That's the big question. Yeah, can they maintain it? We're talking August the 10th. And are they going to pull another rabbit out of the hat and end up making a run here? It will be very interesting. It'll be a fun team to watch down the stretch, because, like I just said, they got an easy schedule. If they just continue to do what they're doing right now, I guess anything's possible.
They do what they're doing right now. The rest of the way, they'll win the division.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, that's very possible. I don't think you could count them out at this point of anything. In terms of winning the division. They would either be a wild card team or win the division. Right. Which do I think is more likely? I can't tell you at this point.
They could be a wild card team pretty solidly by the end of this week if they handle their business at home against Cleveland and Chicago. But I want to switch gears and talk a little football for you. And Detroit Lions get some bad news, I think, with Teddy Bridgewater, who Dan Campbell loves, deciding he's going to step away from football for whatever reasons. He had enough. And they went out and very quickly added Josh Dobbs, who may be the most intelligent quarterback in the league. I mean, the guy is like a nuclear physicist, literally. I mean, he's a whiz, and they don't know about his quarterbacking consistency, but they feel a little bit better about that than they would have without a backup quarterback. And then today they get news that their center, he's going to be out 8 to 12 weeks, and we know what that's like when you have a wrist injury. Your wrist, when you are going up against pass blockers who outweigh you coming up the middle, you have to be able to thrust your hands out, your wrists. So that's an injury that can linger for a long time. And you wonder about the Lions' offensive line anyway. I think that could be a big blow.
Yeah, it very well could be. And that's one thing that they didn't really want to see were these injuries and other things that are going on. You left off Isaiah Pacheco, who today we found out he has a sprained MCL. So right there, according to well, Dan Campbell seems to believe that he's going to be back by the season opener, but you never know with an MCL, one way or another. Yeah. So, the injury bug is not something you want to see this early in the season. And, in the case of Cade Mays, going down with the wrist injury and that, now you're putting Seth McLaughlin in there. He's the next guy up, basically. What could they do with him? I don't know, but it brings into question that offensive line was looking pretty darn good last week when I was out at training camp and everything, and now you're doing a little shuffling here and there. Today, it seemed to be the defense. I think they had 4 or 5 interceptions, throughout and everything, and it was very important. They get a backup quarterback that had some NFL experience, and I think Dobbs is probably a good answer right now at this point, just because they need somebody. Because Elfmeyer, Luke Elfmeyer, who was looking like he was going to be a backup with Teddy Bridgewater out, they've relegated him down to number 3 already, he looked okay today and everything. But the interesting surprise to me, and you and I talked about this last week, we were talking about Devin White. How the Lions signed him, and here's a guy that he played good for the Raiders last year.
Third in the league in tackle.
Yes. Well, let me tell you, training camp hasn't been too kind to him. when they go into pass coverage. He's had a lot of problems in pass coverage in the Lions training camp. And I don't know if it's, having to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown or, Jameson Williams or what, but he's not looked good in that. He's fine against the run.
Why would he be covering Jameson Williams if he's a linebacker? It would seem to me like that's not the defense I want to be playing.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm just using that as an example. Guys running across the middle and stuff like that. He just does not look too good in pass coverage, and it's almost like he's got a target on him that if you see him out there and there's a pass, you probably could end up throwing the ball. He's not looked very good in that respect. But Malcolm Rodriguez was a guy that they thought was going to be the heir apparent when they lost Anzalone and all that.
Alex Anzalone.
And Rodriguez has been hampered a little bit and everything. So, and then that's why they brought in Devin White.
It's pro football. You're going to have a billion injuries. You just have to accept it. Everybody is going to get dinged at some point during the season unless you're a quarterback who's lucky. Bob, I have to ask you about the Bills stadium unveil and the regular season opener with the exorbitant ticket prices. It's for the Detroit Lions week 2, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what were these pictures I was seeing? And some people are talking about it being the most beautiful stadium, and you're sitting in the right place. It is. But I saw at least 6 photos of different locations with obstructed view seats. I don't know who engineered this thing.
Well, it's kind of funny you bring this up. So I was talking with John Walroff, who's the AP writer over in Buffalo, and we were talking, just a quick chat and everything. I said, is it as bad as it really is? And he said he thinks that people are actually trying to look for stuff. Every NFL stadium has something that somebody can complain about, and the Bills acknowledged today that they're going to take a look at, the seats, in question or the obstructed view and see if there's something they can do prior. They've got 6 weeks until the season opener and everything. See if there's something that they can do at that point. But here's the thing, though. A lot of people, when they ended up getting their seat and everything, they were provided with a picture or they actually went and they saw the seat that they had. So nobody brought that point up back then. There are very few individual seats available for games. The majority are season ticket holders, okay? So, yes, there are some seats where it's like Comerica Park. You could be sitting in the upper deck, and I've actually seen this because I've sat there. Right behind home plate, there is a glass protective thing where you come out, you come out of the concourse and you go up. Okay? If you're sitting in the first couple rows there, you're looking through the glass down at the field. So you're getting things like that. In this new building, there are some angles where you actually got a wall that a partial wall that blocks maybe an eighth of the field or something like that.
People can't see anything.
I do know this. If you go out and you look on StubHub and some of the other third-party sites and that, there are ones that are marked, this may be an obstructed view seat. And I feel bad for people that, might be going to the Bills Lions game and not be aware of that because you may be getting one of those seats where you may miss a good portion of the game, especially if it's played in the end zone, and you've got that obstructed view in that. So
I know exactly what you're talking about with Comerica, where you go up and there is a glass. It's just like watching a hockey game. You're watching a hockey game through the glass, and no one minds. If you're sitting anywhere close from the dugout to the dugout, you're going to be looking through mesh netting, right, in the lower deck because of that protection. I get it. But with a brand new stadium, I just don't know why the architects didn't figure this out beforehand because it's an easy fix. I mean, all they have to do is change the elevation a little bit, or you take out a couple hundred seats, or you You put in some sort of a ramp. I mean, there are 10 ways that an architect could fix that, but they can't do it now.
No. Well, they can end up making some modifications. I saw some of the pictures there, and there were some metal bars that were there. Basically protection. They're basically safety type things, and they could basically be made glass. So you might be looking through glass, which would be better than that. But they've got 6 weeks to figure it out, and we'll find out at that point. What have they done? And I'm sure we'll hear about it one way or another, because those same people, this upcoming weekend, they open against Carolina at home in the preseason, and I'm sure we'll get more pictures and stuff like that. But the Bills did acknowledge today that they are going to use that feedback and see if there's something they can do to alleviate some of those points where things were obstructed in that. But from all indications, everybody says it's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah.
So I've watched some of the videos.
And you're going to be there when? When are you there?
I'm there September 27th. I'm there for the Chargers game. So I'll give you a full report on what I see.
Why don't you take Jim Harbaugh up behind one of the obstructed seats? See how he likes it.
Well, I picked that game particularly so I have one more chance to root against Jim Harbaugh.
All right. Bob, it won't be long, and I will be seeing you at Spartan Stadium. Believe you will be there, right?
Yep.
We've got 25 days.
Is that what it is? 25 days?
25
Wow.
days. Yeah. 3 weeks and 4 days, and we will be there for the Toledo Michigan State game and the start of the Pat Fitzgerald era. I was standing watching some practice. We get to watch 3 periods, maybe it was 4 today, of practice before they shoo us out of there. And I was watching the offensive line, and the next thing I know, I turn around and he's standing next to me, and we're just talking for 10 minutes. But, that would never have happened as some of the other recent coaches. But, he's all about energy and personality, and I think the players have picked up on it. We're going to have a series of interviews coming up in the next hour with Joe Rossi and with LeVar Woods, the special teams coach, arguably the best in the country, and Bob, the guy who is going to wear the number 1 jersey, Kenny Soares Jr., and he's the only player who came from Northwestern and was recruited by Pat Fitzgerald in Evanston.
It's going to be a really interesting season. Just seeing some of the videos that MSU has put out with him. Let me tell you, Fitz is a firecracker. Oh my God, we never saw that with Jonathan Smith, and I don't know about Mel Tucker. I think
really.
he's even.
No.
Or
Harlan Barnett. Frankly, honestly, we didn't see that with Mark D'Antonio.
No, we didn't. If you
really haven't seen anything like this passion since Nick Saban.
If you can't get fired up to play for Pat Fitzgerald, then you know what? I don't know what can get you fired up. I really don't at this point.
Yeah, you should have your heart checked. Bob, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week. I know how busy you're going to be. Will you be at Comerica for these games with Cleveland and Chicago?
I'll be there Thursday for the day game at 1:10.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Okay.
All right. We will be back, and our second hour, Rob, it's going to be all MSU football. And had a rare opportunity today, as I mentioned, to watch a little bit of practice and unrestricted. And then we had a chance to hear from a couple of coordinators and the guy who won the player vote. 8 different players received votes for this. And Fitz said, that's ridiculous. That's the most they've ever had, but that's the way it went. And Kenny Soares Jr., transfer from North Carolina State, is going to have that honor this season. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit DeanJobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at DeanJobs.com and train for back-to-school season. That's DEAN Jobs.com.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, in studio today. Beautiful Spotlight facility, 105 West Allegan. And Rob, want to play for our listeners and our viewers today an interview we did this afternoon with Kenny Soares Jr. He's a Connecticut native who went to Northwestern and was going to go to Colorado. Going to play for Deion Sanders. And then the day before signing day, he flipped to Northwestern, to Pat Fitzgerald. And academics mattered a lot, okay? So he's talking about the number 6th ranked academic program in the country and why this was important to him. He's working on his master's degree. And he's a serious guy, but a big smile on his face. And you can see why he would be so popular with his teammates. Last year, he only had 0.5 sacks because they moved his position, okay? Made him a linebacker, and they didn't blitz him. So if you're not a blitzing linebacker, it's hard to get sacks. But now he's going to be an edge rusher, and even against guys 50 pounds bigger or 60 pounds bigger, he thinks he can get home to the quarterback. So here is Kenny Soares Jr., the Spartans elected number 1 for 2026.
So me being at Northwestern and kind of seeing the history of it, being with Fitz beforehand, I got a couple guys who used to wear it too as well, who also reached out to me, which is actually pretty cool. So it kind of makes it like a fraternity in itself, you know. So honestly, it's pretty exciting. I'm still blessed, and it's still a surreal feeling for me. So.
Were you surprised by that at all? Did you know that was coming?
Yeah, definitely surprised. You know, you just kind of take every single day just as its own day and just try to be as vocal as being a leader as much as I can be. You know, I was brought in here here as an older guy, so, trying to talk to not only the younger guys, but everybody on the basis, and I was just blessed that everybody saw me to be a fit for there.
What about the reaction when everybody went crazy when they announced that?
Honestly, I was emotional. I kept it back, because again, with me just being around it for so long and just knowing how much of an honor it is, for me, it was just like, I couldn't believe it, just seeing my name on the board. So
who'd you vote for?
I actually voted for that guy over there, Trey Bell. So we have a lot of leaders on the team, and I feel like anybody could have fit the role. Like, probably 10 different dudes, who could have been in line for it too. As Fitz said, 8 different dudes got their name voted for. So, yeah.
Why do you think teammates voted for you, though? Like, what do you think stood out to them? Or did anyone even mention it to you? Like, hey, man, I voted for you because of
No, I mean, just for me, I know the way that I come into every single day, I attack it like it's a random Monday. It doesn't matter what day it is of the week. So every single day I tell everybody I'm going to be the same exact person coming into this building. So I give everything, I put it on the line every single day. So hopefully that's what it is. But to me, it doesn't matter. It's just I know that. Yes, it's the number, and it's a big thing, but it's just the same person in a different number.
Have you ever worn 1 before, and do you have a favorite number?
So actually, I wore it my 8th grade Pop Warner year. So I actually have a picture of it, and it's a little goofy goober somewhere in that number back then. So, no, I've actually jumped around a little bit, especially jumping around schools a little bit too. You wear different numbers, but I mean, this is probably the best number I've worn so far. So
the guys at Northwestern who called you that previously wore number 1, who were they?
Ray Nairo hit me up, and then also Cam Porter. Both of them are just really dudes I used to talk to a lot, especially in the locker room. Lockers were really close. I was next to Cam Porter for a year, so very close dudes, and just my guys at the end of the day. So they made sure they heard from him and everything. So
to choose Pat twice, like at Northwestern here, I see you smiling. Like, what did that mean to you to be able to play for him again?
It's my guy, it meant everything. It's just unfinished business. That's why I see it. It's because I got there my freshman year. I was his last recruiting class, and also probably one of his last recruits too. He stole me right day before signing day too, and I flipped to Northwestern and from Colorado. Yeah, so still to this day, I don't regret that decision. He blessed me with the ability to be able to achieve the honor of having a top 6 degree in the country. I graduated from Northwestern in 3 years, and then honestly found my way back to him, and I'm very blessed to be here, and I'm happy that he was able to give me a spot and opportunity.
How did the situation come up again?
Things happened at NC State, and honestly, it's another great program over there, and those guys, they gave me an opportunity to go there and ball, and I did most of my opportunity and everything there. And once I saw Fitz was over here, it kind of, a little light shined over my head, like, well, what would happen if I ended up being back over here? So with him, so yeah. Honestly, it's just blessed to be here.
Were you playing out of position? Were you playing out of position a little bit at NC State because of circumstance, or is it a better fit the position you're playing at?
I feel like since I've been in college, I've been a hybrid kind of dude where I've played multitude of positions. So there, I played edge and I played a little bit of will backward too. With injuries, I ended up playing more will last year, which honestly helped me grow a lot as a player because I haven't been able to play that inside backer role as much. So I think me being able to do that kind of gave me a huge leadership role on the defense, and being able to make checks and make calls and kind of being a captain of the defense alongside Caden Fordham, who's actually with the Bucks now. So I feel like that kind of made me grow a lot, not just because now that you're playing a lot of edge, being able to have that role as a linebacker and be that hybrid guy is something that I kind of keep with me. So,
how much do you think that Fitzgerald is really looking to the defense to set the tone for the program going forward?
Well, they say defense wins championships, so I 100% agree with that. And within our role too of us being a D-line and just getting to the quarterback, I feel like we can make a lot of different plays. You can go anywhere from just sacking the quarterback to scooping scores, and you can really control the game up front and in the trenches. So I feel like us as a defense really have you can't win if you can't score. So,
How about from just a physicality, toughness standpoint, just kind of instilling that mindset?
Oh, that's 100%. Fitz played linebacker, Big Ten linebacker, back in the day, especially when I was running the I form every single play. So, that physicality aspect is always going to be there, So, and me coming back to the Big Ten, being in the ACC, I'm very excited to just get out there and play some cold games in the snow and just get after it. So,
how did Fitz flip you from Colorado?
The smile. No, I'm just playing. It was honestly one of the things when it came to academics and also playing Big Ten linebacker. He put it on my pedestal where my position coach, Tim McGargle, was also a linebacker that went to Northwestern, who still has the career tackle leader at Northwestern as well, too. So me just being able to be around those two guys and listen to what they had to say kind of gave me the best aspirations. And then also being able to get a number 6 degree in the country, you can't beat that. So, you know.
How much new gear did you get? Now you were 23, and now did you have to throw that out of the back of the closet and a bunch of new shirts and stuff?
Definitely got to switch it up a little bit. I got a little bit of multitude of both now. We got a fall camp gift bag. You know, everybody gets their fall camp stuff, so I got now a little bit both ways. So my dad's probably gonna be happy when I get back home, give him some stuff.
You might accidentally wear 23.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's your impression of Rossi?
Love Rossi. You know, how toughness, technique. That's our motto with the defense. And honestly, like just me being the player that I am, I know that that's always been instilled in me, and him just being the guy, he knows, he always says it to us. He said we may not out-scheme a team, but no matter what, we're going to outwork a team every single game, and that's the kind of guy I want to be able to play for.
How would you describe his, I guess, personality? I mean, is he high-strung, energy? I mean, how would you...
Always energized, 100%. Funny guy, too. You know, he's very personable as well, too. He's a family man. He has his kids, talks about his sons to us all the time, you know, watching Star Wars and everything like that. So he's a really good dude, honestly. Like, he's not a brick wall where I can't just sit there and talk to him about, you know, stuff going on. So I really, really love him as a coach.
Talk to me about your dad. You mentioned earlier you're getting, you know, sharing gear and stuff. Like you're a junior. You carry his name. What does he do? What's he like? And your mother as well?
So my dad, he's actually a teacher at a tech school. He grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, right where I'm from, Trumbull, Connecticut as well. He was an electrician his whole life, and then kind of went into the field of being a teacher. He never really played sports like that. My mom didn't either. My mom's in cybersecurity. She's, you know, smart one in my opinion. You know, she's always on top, always on her computer and everything like that too. But the way I grew up with my parents and when I talk to you, just like always being the first person in line, always being the person that's just, you know, has a smile on his face and being the light in his room. And every single room I walk in, that's my goal, you know, make somebody else's day better. Because even though my day might not be going well, it's not my problem. It doesn't matter. Just keep pushing. You know?
Obviously, education is important to you.
Yes, sir.
Where are you there in terms of degree, and what do you want to do when football's all done?
After football, I'm kind of looking into being in consulting. You know, I'm probably going to get my master's program. I got into the data analytics program in Northwestern before I had transferred, so trying to figure out something in that type of realm as well too. So,
sorry.
No, you're good.
So Coach mentioned that both you and Anu Lafayette, they kind of have to rein you back a little in practice. What do you see out of Anu, especially coming back after that injury? What do you see out of him?
He's a dog, honestly. You know, we all knew that he was a pass rush guy, but I feel like there's more to him. Like he's getting into his role, obviously, of just being that physical guy that's just able to just be an every down player, and we're growing every single day as a room. I feel like us as a rush room just are very deep. You know, we have me, Anelu's there, Isaac's there as well. We got Chris P's there, and then a young guy, Corey, and then Leonard's joining our room as well too. So I feel like we got a lot of guys who are always going to be ready to be able to step on the field at any point. So him growing as a player is very important for our defense.
And what did you learn last year in terms of maybe life, but on football as well? Like when you come in with a plan and things change or whatever, and you're playing off ball, and you know, it seems like you probably got a lot of different experiences out of that. I'm just wondering what you took from it.
Honestly, just being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Honestly, you know, I've been to boarding school in high school. I went to boarding school, living away from my family, and going to NC State. I didn't really have a lot of people there that I knew as well too. I'm from Connecticut, so just going to a new place and learning people's name again and trying to learn a new scheme, and it's starting from the bottom. Honestly, it's humbling, you know, because leaving Northwestern, I was leaving somewhere where I was comfortable, and going somewhere else where there's a lot of unknowns. You never really know what's going to happen. You just got to own your role and just be the same person every single day, and I feel like I did that. So being able to be better in that aspect, it helped me as a leader as well too, because when you just don't want to let certain things show sometimes, or you want to be able to again have that smile on your face every single day, that takes over. And being able to be that guy, I feel like helped me push through every single step of the way going over there.
Because the plan did change on you, right? A little in terms of position, and just because of need or whatever.
It did.
So that's its own kind of lesson, I guess, in versatility or whatever.
I know we had like a player-led meeting in here, and I talked to the freshmen about being ready. I can remember my freshman year, one of my best friends, Devin Turner, he got his chance out of nowhere, first start against Penn State as a true freshman, and never knew it was going to happen. So just being able to always be ready no matter what comes to you, it's probably one of the best traits you can have in this league.
So how does number one make Michigan State number one?
Just being the same guy every day, just coming in here and just doing what I can. That's what I say to everybody. Everybody says, oh, you're having a good day. I'm just doing what I can. If you're having a bad day, hey, I just got to pick it up no matter what it is every single day. So just being a leader and just being the guy that everybody feels like they can come to no matter what. Because just because I'm number one doesn't mean that I can't have a young guy come talk to me. I tell everybody I'm the same person no matter. When we between those white lines, I promise you the switch is flipped, But then when we're off the field, like, just a chill guy. Like, I promise you I can talk to anybody any sort of way. That's where I say I'm a personal dude. So it's just being able to make sure everybody's together as one. That's my biggest priority here.
Where do you need to get better? Where do you need to get better or tighten up to be the pass rusher that you want to be?
You said, where do I need to get better?
Yeah.
I feel like just me, because again, I never really played the role that I'm in right now, so just really learning there's the little things, because me, a guy who was playing at my size, I may go against somebody who's 6'7", so being able to learn how to use my body to better fit, because the guys are going to be bigger than me, honestly. That's just the nature of it, you know what I mean? So being able to use my quickness and be able to use my speed and just coming off the ball as hard as I can every single play and never taking a play off, that's my mentality. So I'm just trying to find ways I can be better every single day. Honestly.
What are you weighing right now?
About anywhere from 230, 235 plus, depends on the day. Yeah.
Dude, Kenny, I'm sorry if you covered this. Did 23 mean anything to you, though? Was there any emotion or attachment to that? The decision, or was it easy?
No real attachment. I mean, 2 + 3 = 5. That was my old number at Northwestern. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, my parents always say there's 5 of us in the family: me, my brother, younger sister, mom, and dad. So it's always accounting for all of us.
Can I do a quick one, Ben?
Yeah, that's fine.
You're the only guy that's played for Coach Fitzgerald before this.
Yeah.
Is he the same guy? Is he any different? He's gone through some things and he's come back a little bit. What differences, or maybe none, I guess, but what's it been like seeing him then 3 years later?
He's the same guy, honestly. Coach Fitz is Coach Fitz. You know what you're going to get from him every single day. That's, the same mentality I have. I'm going to be the same person every single day I come to this facility. He's the same exact person. So that's why I appreciate him, and that's why I'm still here with him.
That's Kenny Soares Jr. And, Rob, I think you can tell why the players like him so much. He's always there to try to help the younger players, and even though it's a new position for him too, I think he's going to be a leader on this football team. We'll be right back, and you're going to hear from a couple of coordinators. Joe Rossi, running the MSU defense, holdover from the Jonathan Smith era, had tremendous work at Minnesota, and the Michigan State defense got better through the course of last season, the last month of the season. Pretty good unit, and actually should have won the Minnesota and Iowa game, some special teams blunders and the like. And then you're going to hear from LeVar Woods, and he's all worked up about some new rules, some rules changes, which in typical NCAA fashion, they forgot to tell everybody. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode. We're joined by Michigan State basketball players Andre Hudson and David Thomas to discuss their playing careers and also being parents to elite athletes. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. A lot of taped interview for you today, but that's what we got today at the MSU football building. Lots of players available. Didn't even get to Trey Bell. And long sessions with the coordinators. We want you to hear from Joe Rossi about Michigan State's defense. A lot of questions, a lot of people wondering if this defense can hold up. He's pretty optimistic, likes what he sees. Here's MSU defensive coordinator Joe Rossi.
I guess what's the difference in the defense from when you March 7th, whatever the last day of spring practice to now as far as where you're at?
Yeah, I think, you're further ahead, obviously, right? I thought, you come into the beginning of spring practice, you've got a bunch of new people, get a new staff, right? But then we had a lot of new players, right? So everyone's kind of at that base stage with the exception of few. And I thought spring really ascended for our guys as they kind of went through the spring and got better and better and better. I thought we played our best ball at the end. And then you come into summer, and the thing is like, hey, they do a lot of stuff on their own during the summer, and the expectation is to start higher than where you ended spring. And I thought we've done that. The thing that stood out to me in the first four practices is just like the effort to the ball, the swarm to the ball, the physicality. And that's always got to be your starting point, right? Beginning of camp is coaching fundamentals, coaching the details of the coverages and the fronts and all those things. But if guys have the effort and the swarm and the physicality, that's always a good start. So we're much further along than we were at the beginning of spring, and we have a long way to go too. So
everyone talks this time about retention.
Yeah.
I guess what areas do you see the most retention right now? Where you'd like a little bit more? We'll just pick it up over the next.
You mean from a mental standpoint? Yeah, I would say it probably shows most in the first and second down calls. And I would say it's across the board. D-line, linebacker, secondary. I say that because in the spring, that's probably the situation we hit the most. So obviously that one's going to have the most retention. We get into training camp, we open up all the situations, some of the end of games, some of the last plays, things like that. So guys will be hearing that stuff for the first time. So first and second down stuff.
Joe, what do you like about not being tied to a position? I don't know if you've ever done that in your career before this year.
No, I haven't.
How's that helped? Or
yeah, I think it's good. I think it does two things. It connects the defense, and then I can inject the why. So when we're in meetings, I just alternate from different positions. And so, I go in and, I want to hear the players. I want to be around the guys. When you're a coordinator and a position coach, you don't get around the guys as much. But then, say, hey, listen, this is why we call this. This is what the linebackers are doing when you're sitting in the secondary meeting. This is what the linebackers are doing when you're sitting in the D-line meeting. It just kind of pulls everything together. So I like it, because I feel like it can answer the why and connect the group.
Cheryl talked about kind of getting back to that toughness that Coach D'Antonio had. I mean, how much do you see yourself as kind of the vehicle towards restoring that toughness?
I think I'm one of a bunch. I think it's a program thing, whether it's strength coach, whether it's just in terms of the day-to-day, whether it's the position coach, whether it's the coordinator, whether it's the head coach. So I'm certainly part of that. And I think defensively, the driving force needs to be physicality, toughness, hardness. But I'm one of the staff, but the staff is all on the same page with that mentality. So
with Kenny, you've been working with him since January. What have you seen that enabled his teammates to vote him to get the number one?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, right? There was a vote, and he got the most votes, and he was a guy that's been here as of recent, January. But the thing about him is he competes his butt off. I'll give you a story. So in July, I had the defense over my house for a little cookout, and I have a basketball hoop. And Kenny's out there playing some of the guys, and he's to me, it's like it's the NBA Finals, watching him play, right? And then later on, he's over there playing bags or cornhole, depending on where you are in the country. But he's playing it's the ESPN Ocho cornhole championships, right? And Chuck is standing next to me, and Chuck goes, "Man, this is the most competitive dude I've ever seen." And I said, "You're right," because that's how he is on the football field too. So I think that just stands out to his teammates. This guy competes, and he's always going 1,000 miles an hour. He's a good person, and he's a leader for us. So it was an honor, well deserved.
How does that translate? How does that translate on the pass rush to have that kind of a competitive spirit or motor?
Yeah, I think on the D-line, playing with a series of efforts, that's one of the things we talk about is critical, because on D-line there's going to be a get off, there's going to be an engagement, there's going to be a separation, and there's going to be a pursuit to the ball, right? A corner might pedal and be in a pedal the whole play, right? No disrespect. I certainly can't go out there and cover on the edge. But up front, it's a series of efforts. Pass rush, a lot of it is just being relentless. Okay, and just having a high motor. He is a high motor guy. There are times we have to pull him back. Okay, but as a defensive coach, that's what you love. All right, you don't want to be pushing him forward. You want to be pulling him back, and he's a pull back guy.
As far as bringing him onto this team through the portal, because I know he played for Pat at Northwestern. What was that process like? How did you guys identify him? And, how did you know he was this kind of guy?
Well, it was a couple things. Coach came to us and said, when he was in the portal, was like, "Hey, I coached this guy." And but he was like, "Here's what I know about him, evaluate him." Okay, because he wanted us to get an evaluation of him. And I'll be honest, it was a projection, because at NC State, he went there to play edge, and then they had injuries, and they moved him off the ball. And so when we looked at him, we said we felt like he was best on the edge. He had the traits, he just needed to be, developed a little bit and coached at rushing the passer. And then we got on the phone with him, and we really, really liked him a lot in terms of his personality, his attitude, just his intelligence. So then it just kind of came together. We came back to coach and was like, "Hey, we really like him." He was like, "Cool, I like him too." So we went after him.
A lot of people, especially fans, noticed your emotion last year, I guess, on the sideline. how important is it to have that kind of energy and, I guess, passion, I guess, when you're coaching or just in football in general? And then, how much do you feel like that's kind of being restored here right now?
Yeah, here's the one thing I'll say. Like, I think one of the key things a coach can do is just be themselves, right? The players don't respond to phony, okay? Because I've seen plenty of coaches who aren't super high energy who are great coaches, right? And it's about, like, being your true self. That being said, the guys want to feel passion. If that passion is like a vocal passion, cool. If it's not, some guys get really excited all the time. I'm not an excite all the guy time on game day sometimes, but usually during the week I'm pretty like, okay? So, but my point is you just got to be yourself. And so I do think players feed off energy. I do think they feed off of passion, but I do know this. If you try to be phony, they're going to see right through it and they're not going to respond. So we have a passionate and energetic defensive staff, okay, from the back end to the front end. And I think we got a good group that'll bring energy, enthusiasm, starting with the head coach. So it's a good group to be able to drive the team.
Is it different working for a defensive coach? I mean, a guy who has a defensive background.
Yeah, I haven't done it since my first years in coaching D3 school. Every other time I've worked for an offensive coach. But coach balances it really well. He goes in everyone's meetings. He sits in on everything, and he can provide input to offense, defense, and special teams. And I think the difference is he just gets where it's coming from on defense. Or sometimes if a guy played receiver or things like that, or was a quarterback, they maybe don't have quite the same sense. I mean, he gets it. He's been on that side of the ball, so I think it's appreciated by the guys. But there's a lot of great offensive, guys who are head coaches who are able to do the same thing. So.
What's it been like working with LeVar Woods as special teams coordinator?
Well, number one, always thought he did a great job. Competed against him for a lot of years. I mean, was probably 9 years, but a lot of respect for him. And then he's a very good teacher and commands a room and has done it at a super high level for a really long time. So it's been awesome to have him here. Plus, he's a cool dude. I like him. He off the field too. So.
You're away from the linebackers a little bit now, but
yeah.
Pat mentioned about Adam Shaw and the step that he's taken early. I'm wondering what you've seen with him and how Pretzloff's been coming back from his injuries.
Starting with Pretzloff, I don't think he's missed a beat. If anything, he's further ahead than when he was injured. The cool thing was, even though he was non-contact all spring, he did everything that was non-contact. So now he's getting some contact under his belt. Like, we're ready to turn him loose. Like, he's going to play a lot of ball for us. Where, what position on the depth chart, that'll get sorted out through the rest of camp. But he's going to play a lot of ball for us, and he can be a really good player for us. Adam Shaw has put on a lot of weight. As is the case when freshman linebacker get here, they're usually 210 pounds and don't look like linebackers, and then all of a sudden they start eating and lifting and training, and then they start to fill out, and he's starting to fill out. And I would say he's a really good athlete. He's a physical kid, and he's got a high aptitude. So, you get guys that are athletic, who are smart and can run. Those are the great foundation to play really, really good linebacker, and he has it.
Deion's a guy that has played up and down a little bit,
Yeah.
I believe. You like that versatility? Is that something you could see him doing here, and just how's he been performing so far?
I like him.
Yeah.
He is a mean SOB, right? And I say that with all endearment. We like guys like that. He's physical. He plays downhill. He will hit you. He's on the football field. He's got a few loose wires in a good way. And so I think when our fans get a chance to watch him play, they're going to love how he plays. He can play off the ball, and he's a really good blitzer. We can walk him up on the edge and send him off the edge because he has played off the edge. Sometimes when guys go from forward to back, they struggle with recognition of plays. He does not. So,
having been a quarterback, help him that way too?
Absolutely. I think anytime a guy's a quarterback, it just helps their awareness. A lot of times on defense, you'll see maybe a safety that played quarterback, and then he might move up, and it's always like, can he key and diagnose? Can he read? Well, if a guy's a quarterback and he's not processing the right way and an effective quarterback, it shows his ability to process.
You have a unique perspective. You were here a year ago, and now you're here this year. And what are the vibes coming into the camp, and also like in the community with the former players who you've been around at the golf camp or the golf outings and all of that? What's it like this year?
Yeah, I mean, and just speaking to this year, right? Because I don't like to, compare anything, but just speaking to this year, like I'll give you an example. We're at the golf outing, okay, and there's a part of the golf outing before they tee off, and a lot of bad golf gets played. Coach Fitz kind of addressed the alums, and like I could see within 15 seconds, like they like this guy, they like his energy. And Coach Fitz just brings it. It's not fake. Again, it's who he is, right? So, like, I felt like it resonated really well with the alums, and I've kind of just felt that in the community too. Now, we got to get the team ready to go play football and go out there to win football games, okay? But I feel that, I'm feeling it. You're asking an energy and an attention to detail and a physicality and an edge, and that kind of stems from Coach.
When you mentioned smarts with Shaw, I wondered, like we talked about last year, how valuable that is for guys who can recognize plays and play inside your system. But I wonder who are the guys, regardless of where they are in a depth chart, stand out in that regard as smarts.
Nakai Martinez, super smart player. Jordan Hall, super smart player. It would never be on this staff, but there's over the years, like Jordan probably knows the scheme better than some guys from in the past years ago that were defensive coaches. That's how well he knows. That's how well he knows the defense. Chuck Brantley. Chuck knows football. He's a really smart player. And then you get up front, like, Ben Roberts, Worm, like he knows ball. So we've got him. And just so you know, like, we'd like to collect as many of those people as possible. The way the football gets played in 2026, and then you see what gets asked of guys in the NFL, like see ball, get ball doesn't work real well. You got to have guys that have high aptitude and can learn, and that was something that we intentionally went after. Devin Vaught, Michael Richard, like it was intentional in how we went to go recruit those guys. So we got a bunch of guys like Brady Bretzloff is a super smart football IQ guy. So.
When you initially talked to Pat about staying on here, and you kind of talked about you wanting you to be a stabilizing force in this transition, because I mean obviously this program's gone through a lot of different transition periods in the last couple of years, but I mean, like, how much did he talk to you about that, just kind of being somewhat of a stabilizing force, having at least that part?
Yeah, and so I obviously hit the insight with him and the decisions. Obviously, I don't want to speak for Coach, but I think as we went through the initial stages, as that number one being a possibility, and then it happening, I think there was, with some of the guys on defense, obviously there was a little bit of comfort because they know who their coordinator is going to be. And then we were able to just give some insight onto some things about players and then just how things have gone. So, but just in terms of the decision, obviously, I defer to Coach in terms of answering that because I don't want to, talk about things that, or him.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned Chuck. How are you guys kind of moving forward with him? You know him, but then he's been limited a little bit, and the pads will come on here soon.
Yeah.
What are you looking at with him, and what are you hoping to get?
I'm hoping to get his best year. Chuck's a really good football player. Chuck and I've always felt kind of had a cool relationship, and I like him a lot as a football player, and I think Spartan Nation does too because of how he plays, right? And but I also like him as a person. And he's had a lot of personal growth since I first met him, from the first time I met him till now, and I'm proud of him. So I want him to get back, and he's working and he's practicing. They'll be taking the restrictors off here in a little bit, but he's going. He's good, and I'm excited, and I want him to have a freaking great year for him because like I said, I love the kid.
Could he play nickel? Is that a possibility, or is he more of an outsider?
He'll be all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got time for a couple more.
How's Anello been coming back at the foot?
That's another guy where like you got to put a rope around him and like you got to like hold that guy back. So he's been great. Haven't had to worry. Like he's 1,000 miles an hour. Okay. Sometimes we got to calm him down. So he's looking really good rushing the passer right now in one-on-ones. I thought he had hit some really good rushes today in practice. So I'm excited to have him back. He was flashing, doing some good things for us last year, was injured, kind of a freak thing. So we're happy to have him back.
How much does that edge rush help everything else you want to do on the defense?
Well, here's what I'd say. Edge rush helps coverage, and edge rush helps takeaways. Okay? Because most takeaways are the result of, like, in 2020, this isn't 1974 when the all-pro quarterback had 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. People don't turn the ball over now like they did back in the day. Like, Hall of Fame stats in the 70s would be backups now. So if you look at interceptions, most interceptions are the result of pressure. Okay? And then the most fumbled play in a football play is a sack fumble. So pressure creates takeaways, right? It helps coverage, and then it creates minus yardage plays. Like, you get sacks, and it's hard for an offense to overcome a sack on a scoring drive. Okay, so it does a bunch.
That's Joe Rossi talking about this Michigan State defense. Didn't want to talk too much about the past, but everything is full speed ahead at Michigan State. And we had another chance to talk with LeVar Woods. I remember, Rob, maybe you weren't here that day. We were out at the golf outing, and we spent some quality time with LeVar Woods talking about what he learned at Iowa and how important special teams can be. And he elaborated on that and also talked about some new NCAA rules that no one seems to understand.
Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. Obviously, beautiful day outside here in East Lansing, and beautiful day for practice. Not sure how much you guys saw practice or not, but a beautiful day. Things are moving. Things are clicking. It's training camp time, right? So there's a lot of stuff building a culture, not only for this team, but in regards to special teams, just trying to really build that and championship level culture. Guys have responded. Guys have been working their butt off. They're coming together as a team. Coming together as each individual units, we're piecing those together right now. It's been fun to work with, and personally, I'm moving my family here to East Lansing, and the community's been unbelievable. It's been awesome, and the people have been great, the fans have been great, and so just really excited to get going and get going not only with the season, training camp now, the season coming up, and then the transition here to East Lansing. So, with that, any questions you guys may have, you have to answer.
How would you, in the easiest way to relate to fans, describe the changes in the punt rules that obviously you were not
right off the bat? You are touching a nerve right now. So it's very interesting, right? So first and foremost, still very unclear of how this whole thing came about. Very unhappy with how it came about, the rule change, who was consulted, who wasn't consulted. I don't want to speak for Fitz, but I know he is upset. Coaches weren't consulted, and they tried to ramrod this thing through in the cloak of darkness in the middle of, like late February, early March. People were on spring break. People were getting going their spring practice. A lot of guys, a lot of coaches, head coaches and coordinators had no idea. And I go back to the spring, right? We have spring practice all through April, and every day we'd come off the field. We're fielding calls from different people, different coaches, coordinators, and head coaches around the country. Hey, can you explain this rule? Because we kind of found and heard about it, and we were curious about it. The staff here, myself, Josh Robinson, was Mason Ruddy at the time, and then Coach Fitz. And so we're constantly just trying to understand it and find out who knows what. Most guys, coordinators around the Power Four, had no idea. And then also kind of the rules kept like as a moving target, right? One day it's this, the next day it's that. Hey, call this person if you want to change, if you want to revert back to the old rule. Never got any clarity on it. So obviously they wanted to make that change. But the way the rule is written, they would like to have you in a 2-by-2 formation, even though it's not what the rule says, okay? But someone will interpret the rule as saying, call it a guard tackle on either side of the center. And those numbers have to be ineligible numbers, okay? Or let me back up. If you're not in that formation, you have to have 5 ineligible numbers on your punt unit. Okay, so what a lot of coaches are doing around the country that I've spoken to, they would like to keep the multitude of formations, the ability to change formations and not be locked into a 2-by-2 formation. So what most people I know, they're going with a jersey change. So good luck to you guys trying to figure out who's who and what's what, because there's going to be like hockey line changes with changing jerseys. Jordan Hall wears number 5. Nakai Martinez wears number 21. And for a play, they're going to be wearing number 77 or 67 or whatever ineligible number they have, and try to go protect a punt, cover a punt, and go down. Those are just 2 guys on this team. Now multiply that by 130. Okay, so here's the impact that nobody thought of, I promise you. The NIL impact, right? So all those rules that were up there was targeting, it was punt rules, it was pants too short, right? I talked to the people on the oversight committee. Okay, how come all these things went through except for the pants? Why do you think they said the pants rule didn't go through? Take a guess.
Uniform contract.
Money. Uniform contracts, money, and they said the players would revolt. So now what do you think if a player is making money off his name, image, and likeness as the rule is supposed to be stated? I'll use Jordan Hall. I've spoken to him about this. Number 5, he has a deal with somebody in town wearing number 5. Well, sometimes he's 75, sometimes he's 77, sometimes he's 70. Who knows what that's going to be like, right? So now, who's the play-by-play announcer? Mr. Clay? Okay, I've not met Mr. Clay, the PA announcer in the stadium. Now he's got to figure out who made that tackle. So Luka Vincic wears number 70 for us on offense. Well, guess what? Now Nakai Martinez is wearing number 70. Maybe it's Nakai, maybe it's someone else. Who gets credit for the tackle? Okay, so they didn't think about the NIL impact. The other thing they didn't think about is NFL scouting, right? So all these coaches, these scouts come here, they're here all day, right? Watching guys, watching the tape, cutting it up, looking at it. So Trey Bell wears number 3. Well, next play is going to be wearing number 67 and number 73 and number 78, whatever ineligible number you can think of. But they're not thinking about that. I promise you, the players don't know that. Our players here, I've spoken to them about it. And because to me, once those things happen, you start messing with the players, you start messing with, now the players are getting paid, right? You start messing with the name, image, and likeness that's tied to that uniform, and away you go. So a lot of unintended consequences with it, a lot of craziness, to be honest with you, a lot of upset people. Meaning, I'm talking about special teams coaches. It was nearly unanimous that, I shouldn't say unanimous, but a very, very overwhelming majority did not want the rule. A lot of them did not know about the rule. We're going all the way into practice 13, 14, 15 of spring football, and coaches had no clue. I'm talking about Power 4 coaches. FCS coaches, I mean, God bless them, man. They had, still, some of them probably don't know. I mean, I'm not even joking. It's that serious from our world, right? So, I talked to the coordinator from Army. He's getting ready to go on spring break. They're in practice 10, I believe, of 12 of their session, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" So the point I'm trying to get across is this is really just ramrodded through. I still think there's time to reverse this and time to really think about it and get it right and put a committee together. Let's get the rule right the way we want it, rather than the craziness you're about to see on Saturdays in college football.
So when did you start hearing about the rules?
So late February, early May.
So what was the motivation for these changes? Why fix what isn't broken?
It's a great question. Okay, it's a great question. Depends who you ask. Because at one point, the head of officials told us that it was to make it easier on coaches. And that was how he started off. And the coaches are like, well, who's complaining about it being too hard to coach? All of us are like, no. We did a Zoom, right? So we called a bunch of people. Hey, jump on the Zoom. We got the head of officials, Steve Shaw, on there. We've got Bill Carrillo, head of officials for the Big Ten, and then AJ Eads, who's the administrator for the Big Ten football. And obviously some head coaches and majority coordinators, and no one's like, it's not hard to defend these plays. It's not hard to, what are we talking about? So then it transitioned, well, it'd be easier for the officials to officiate. Well, I can tell you now, the jersey stuff, the formation stuff, all these things they're getting ready to see, it's not, you ask any official, it is not easier to officiate. You have to have 2 sets of rules, 3 sets of rules for different situations. So you tell me, because I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, and we're in practice 4 of training camp.
Could it revert back before the
season? I think it could be really easy to revert back.
But it wouldn't be something that would change during the season. Like once you start, there's no preseason for you guys.
You've been around, you've watched college football, right? They change rules all the time. They change rules. Hey, we're not going to enforce this. At one point, the Big Ten was unanimous opposing this rule. A couple of our Power 4s were overwhelmingly opposing the rule. Okay, one conference split, really mainly because I don't think the coaches really understood it. But to me, it's time to go back. But we're going forward. Everyone's going forward. Everyone's practicing with these new rules. So we'll see how it goes.
As a former linebacker and also linebackers coach, what do you find appealing about Joe's defense?
That's a great question too. Joe's defense is really, really black and white to me. I think that speaks to how he coaches and how sharp and detailed he is. Allows players to see it black and white and go fast. And that to me is what the mark of a good defense. And we're watching out here in practice. I mean, there's some really good players out there, really good players, guys, good teammates, working hard. I feel like the personnel within the defense certainly helps us on special teams, and there's a lot of good players out there.
Does it feel like the players, from like you've seen, like the holdovers, like they feel like they're growing within the system? I guess.
I wasn't here last year, so I really can't speak to that. When I talk to the kids, what's it like? What's the difference? I feel like when I talk to them, they seem very upbeat and very excited and positive about the future and kind of where things are going and sort of the culture here. Now, again, I wasn't here, so I can't really speak to that. I do know that in Game 11, the school I was at before, we played against Michigan State and played against Joe's defense, and it came down to the wire, the game-winning field goal that decided the game. So that tells you kind of what kind of coach he is, what the mentality of that team was like. They weren't out of it. They were still trying to play.
It seemed like in the spring players are impressed by just how detailed your install was for punt coverage, punting it like the whole nine. I wonder how far along everything is with players sort of understanding what it takes to play special teams in your system, and what are sort of the goals in spring ball to
I think we're all still learning, right? We're all still learning, and I've seen marked improvement from spring till now. Like I was floored the first couple of days. We go back, do the same drills over, and realize like, man, these guys are flying right now. Like maybe we could move a little bit quicker than I anticipated, which is good. I think guys are eager. Guys are hungry. They want to win, and they want to win. You can tell it. You can feel it when you see Fitz and he's around, and you talk to Indy players. They want to win. Now we got to guide them as coaches, and we have to put them in the right positions and keep continuing to teach and continue to help them grow. But I feel very confident where the guys are at right now. It's just continue to work and continue to build and that championship culture we're talking about.
What type of things fall on your plate with the either assistant or associate head coach title?
Yeah,
I don't want to make
whatever Fitz tells me.
What kind of goes into that, I guess? And I mean, has that been helpful, I guess, to you in any kind of way, just expanding some roles or whatever?
For sure. I'm very grateful for the opportunity with Coach Fitz. I think it's no different than a player, right? A player, and you're coaching a player needs someone that believes in them, believes that they can take that they have someone that'll try to take them where they want to go. I feel that same way with Fitz. I think Fitz sees something in me as a potential head coach one day, and he's trying to help me get there. And that's what the definition of a coach is, right? From point A to point B. And I feel good about what he's doing with that. It's been fun seeing it from a different way, different energy, right? A different energy from where I've only been around, and I've only ever been around like Hall of Fame championship level coaches, starting in high school and college. My assistant coach Norm Parker was the coordinator here, and then Hayden Fry, and then Kirk Ferentz, and going the National Football League, right? Whether you're talking about assistants or head coaches, that's what I've been around, so that's what I'm used to, and I get that with Fitz. The guy knows how to win, the guy knows how to coach. He's got great energy, completely different energy than what I've been around before, and a different way to skin a cat, if you will. So I'm learning from him every day, and just trying to continue to learn and continue to try to keep up. It's the first day for everyone, almost every day.
Any new duties, I guess, or tasks that come with that are kind of interesting to you, or that are just different from what?
Yeah, I would say just different consultation on how we run practice, where we put periods, where we, where we're organizing those kind of things, and the rest of it I think will play itself out in recruiting and how we do things operationally here.
I wonder for both you and Fitz, I mean, you've both spent most of your careers, almost all of it, at one school. How has the transition been? Have you kind of leaned on each other to kind of, I guess, do something new when you've got such an established background at two different places there?
Yeah, it's definitely unique, right? Those two, the longevity of both our careers. And I would say that I think we both have long-term things in mind, right? Like we are trying to build and sustain, if you will. And that's what we're used to. It's what we're accustomed to. It's not, hey, I'm here for a year, here for two, and take off, which that's some of pro and college coaching. Me personally, like, I'm trying to build, and I'm trying to see what can we do here, how fast can we get there, what's it going to look like. But I feel like that kind of mentality with the thought of, hey, this is new, this is different. I'm being challenged every day by my assistant Josh Robinson, because he's been some places, and like, let's do this different. Can we look at it different? So that part is definitely helpful for both myself and I think for Fitz. I mean, we push on each other a little bit on some things. But ultimately, it's his show, and he runs it the way he wants to run it. This staff is incredibly talented. And I'm talking not just coaching staff, I'm talking about analysts, I'm talking about recruiting, personnel. It's unbelievable. And there's a lot of us. So, but feel good about that and then coming to work every day, which makes it fun.
Obviously, like the special teams had sort of become part of the identity and just years upon years had built, into something. How quickly do you feel like, again, that stuff sort of takes years, but how quickly do you feel like there can be an impact made in that third phase here, or are you hoping to? Not asking you to guarantee like immediate success, but like how quickly do you feel like you can get things in a direction that you'd be happy with, I guess?
Honestly, I think it's all about how fast the players change mindsets, right? And like how they see it. I think Fitz is doing a great job setting the tone every day. And I think players are answering the bell and showing up and putting in the effort. And then it's just going to come down to us playing and like continue to learn each and every week, like how important each play is on special teams. There's typically an average about 30 plays a game. So on offense, there's 70, 80, 90, depends on the game and the style of play, and same thing defensively. So you don't get as many opportunities on special teams. So you got to be good with the ones you get.
Would you say, in your experience, mindset is, or mentality, effort stuff is above scheme in that phase, or
I think so.
Hand,
I think part of what makes special teams units good, and the previous experience I've had is building on the fundamentals. Right, you give them a fundamental base, you teach them the techniques, you teach them a recovery technique if they get beat, and you just keep pounding it over and over and over. And then it comes down to how bad do you want this. How much do you want to do this for your team? And some players, that's more so like a older guy or a senior. Like, how bad do you want to do this for your team? Some guys, young guys, that's their way on the field. That's their way on the bus. So again, I think the roster is a little bit different. Older, younger. Some guys, they may never play offense or defense. I've coached a couple guys that were hellacious special teams players that nobody on offense or defense would want them to play, but they were phenomenal on special tems.
Where's some of the return men you have your eye on? I imagine Kenneth Williams is one.
It's a good start. Yeah, so Kenneth, you mentioned him right away. McCray, I think, is another guy that has ability. I think Collier the same way. Those are probably the three that I know the best right now. Again, as we're in practice 4. Right now, we haven't starting to piece together punt return today, actually. Kick return, we haven't put the scheme in yet, so that'll be next week. But I feel good about those 3 right now and kind of where they're trending. There's some other guys out there as well that we just got to continue to go with. I asked in the first punt return meeting, I asked who's the starting punt returner. And about 6 hands went up, and one of them was Jordan Hall, one of them was Nakai Martinez, one of them was Anelu. So I was like, all right, we don't have one, right? So, but.
You coached against Kenneth Williams, so probably caught your eye
for sure.
Against him back then.
For sure. First and foremost, he's an unbelievable kid. Great. I challenge you guys to get to know this kid. He's awesome, great kid, local kid from Detroit, very hungry kid. I keep calling him a kid. He's a grown man, but I think the world of this guy, and he's going to be really good, not just as a returner. I could see him in coverage as well. He's got the right mindset across the board.
LeVar, can you develop a DeJean or a Weegan, or do you have to go and find a guy like that?
Yeah, I think Cooper DeJean didn't come to Iowa to be a returner. Same like Weegan did. That's recruited him to do that. But I feel like you can develop if a guy has the grit, the toughness, the ability to make a play, and the want to make a play. I think you can develop that. Right? Now, that's been my history. I don't know how it's like really anywhere else. Now I think you start to pair up with some guys that maybe have unique athletic ability with the right mindset. I think you've got something special. So again, we just got to continue to work on it, continue to develop it. But I feel really good about the guys in this room and on this team. I can't wait for the rest of the world to see them, at some point. And again, it's not going to happen right away, week 1, day 1. But I feel really good about this group. And I think their heads are on straight, their minds are in the right place, and they're all looking to develop and move forward.
When you talk about special teams players, like the guys who touch the ball, whether it's kicking, snapping, returning, we tend to talk about. But as far as building like the coverage units and the jammers and that sort of depth, like is that something you intentionally recruit, or is that the same thing as internal development, other guys who
I think it's more internal development.
Okay.
I don't think very rarely you're going to recruit a guy specifically for special teams because the rosters are so limited, right? But I think you can train guys, and you got to switch mindsets, and I tell the kids nearly daily that the ultimate title someone can give you is not I'm a receiver, or I'm a running back, or I'm a quarterback, is that you're a football player. And where do you want me to play, coach? I'm going to go play. right? Offense, defense, special teams. So to me, we're trying to find football players and build football players, and we did some drills today for that, and just trying to continue to build and develop this team.
Coach, we have one more right here.
Yes, sir.
One thing for rule changes is just that you have the 5-for-5. How does that change the evaluation process for special teams when you have that ability to play the guys more and not burn a red shirt, for example?
Yeah, I think it shifts your mind a little bit because you're always trying to, at least when I've always coached, I've always tried to be conscious of the player and his eligibility. Hey, I don't want to play a guy 5 games and all of a sudden he loses a year when he could have, redshirted and been better. You're always better at 22 than you are at 18. Mm-hmm. But right now, if a kid can play and he can help us, then let's go. Let's go. If he wants to. Sometimes we're playing the Big Ten. The conferences, the last 2 years, I feel like has just gotten really, really competitive in special teams in particular. So I don't want to play anybody that's not ready physically, right? But if a guy is physically ready and he can help us, then let's go.
MSU's new special teams coordinator and did a bang-up job at Iowa, arguably the best in the country. And Michigan State paid the price for that with a couple of special teams losses to the Hawkeyes. Now he is on the other side. I want to thank all of our guests today, Rob, starting with Sean Baligian, just back from Seattle, a versatile voice of the Great Lakes. Appreciate him joining us, talking Tigers baseball and much, much more. Bob Trippy, our Director of Research, longtime State of Michigan sports writer, now one of the busiest guys in the state. Appreciate Captain Database joining us again. And you heard taped interviews from earlier today at the football building with Kenny Soares Jr., who was elected by his teammates to wear the number 1 jersey, defensive coordinator Joe Rossi, and new special teams coordinator LeVar Woods. We'll be back with you tomorrow, everyone. Mike Tirico can be with us. We'll see you then.